Hey there, Careblazer. Welcome back to another episode of Careblazers TV. This episode is a Careblazer Q and A segment. This is where I answer your questions that you've submitted below my YouTube videos. If you didn't know, if you ever want me to answer your question that you have about dementia, all you have to do is leave it below any of my YouTube videos. This episode is sponsored by my Care Club. Basically, it's my private course, only offered a couple times a year, where I focus on Careblazer self-care and how to kind of handle some of the most challenging aspects of being a caregiver. And in that course, I do live Q and A's. So basically, it's me and the course members live over the screen, kind of answering their questions about their specific situations. I offer that a couple times a year, and if you're interested in being notified the next time it's offered, there is a link below this video that you can just click on, enter your email address, and the next time it's offered, I will let you know. Okay, now let's get started with some of your questions. Is there a possibility that some of the actions in dementia is that they can play you as a caregiver, meaning they put some actions on for attention? I've seen my mother be able to walk at times so well, and then at other times it's like you have to remind her to move her feet as she's moving the walker without moving her feet, but yet acts so weak and feeble, while at other times is determined to do things and move around independently. I feel like some of the attention she enjoys, like she's so feeble and wants the pity. Is it me? It is entirely possible for somebody with dementia to seem completely impaired one minute and then completely fine the next. Somebody with dementia can seem completely fine one day and then completely bad the next. Dementia isn't always where somebody will be awful and impaired and unable to do anything all the time. Sometimes there's this kind of up and down, especially depending on the type of dementia. And that often makes it really hard for you because you're left wondering, what's going on? He was able to do that yesterday and now he can't, or he just did this an hour ago and now he can't. It can leave you feeling a little bit frustrated and confused. But do know that that is part of dementia and it can happen. However, your question in terms of being played, this is very interesting, and a lot of people, caregivers, sometimes think, is my loved one doing this to me on purpose? Here's how I really want to answer that question. How does it help you to think that? I would be having such a hard time caring for somebody with dementia if I thought they were purposefully acting like they had dementia. I would be having a really difficult time showing care and compassion to somebody if I thought they were purposefully trying to get my help or they were purposefully trying to make my life more difficult. That's not a good place to care from. That's a really hard place to care from. So knowing that dementia does have these ups and downs, knowing that sometimes in dementia the brain no longer communicates to the feet to tell the feet what to do. Like sometimes people literally forget how to walk. Sometimes people forget to chew their food or swallow. So these are just symptoms that happen in this really difficult disease. And it's much more helpful to you to think that this is a symptom of the disease. If you're thinking that it's just for attention, this is going to be a really rough patch for you because you're probably going to have a really hard time giving good care when you feel like that person's kind of doing things on purpose or trying to play you. It's not a really good place to care from. Dementia is confusing. Dementia is challenging. And while you can't control your loved one's behaviors, you get to control how you want to think about their behaviors and make sure the way you choose to think about their behaviors is a way that's not making things more difficult for you. It's already a difficult situation caring for somebody with dementia. Don't make it any worse by thinking some of these things that are going to lead to some resentment and anger. Next question. I am the primary caregiver of my 79-year-old mom with Alzheimer's. I moved in with her recently and have been really struggling. I've never had a good relationship with my mom. She neglected me when I was younger, and I have never felt respected by her. I find myself revisiting those old feelings. I am short-tempered when she exhibits some of her old behaviors that get under my skin. For example, mom was always very nosy, and now that behavior takes the form of shadowing and constantly making comments on where I am and what I am doing. She goes into my things and has no respect for my personal space. Sometimes she really believes she's helping me. Living under her roof is once again a challenge. We fight a lot and it's a constant cycle of anger and guilt for me. The rational half of my brain tells me that I need to detach and find a way to cope. Now that I'm an adult, I should be able to do that, but the emotional half of my brain remembers back and becomes angry and sad. Now, I can answer this question with the more kind of technical piece in terms of how somebody with dementia, a lot of times dementia magnifies previous personality. So that if your mom was always nosy before, she's going to be even more nosy now. Or I can answer it with the fact that a lot of times in dementia, shadowing is common. So because you're a familiar person and because the person with dementia might not know what to do or where to go, that person kind of shadows you and follows you, which can be very frustrating. I don't think either one of those options or one of those explanations is what would really be helpful for you to hear right now. I think what would be most helpful is to kind of focus on the emotional piece that you're experiencing. So what I first want to say is don't should all over yourself, right? You're saying you should be able to detach. I'm an adult now. You shouldn't be having these negative emotions. You're human. You're going to have negative emotions. You're a caregiver. And not only that, you're caregiving for a person who you've never really had a great relationship for. That's extremely difficult. So be kind to yourself. Be understanding to yourself. Have some compassion for yourself that every day you're kind of being reminded of something from your childhood that was really hurtful and hard, right? So there's gonna be some negative emotion. It's completely human and normal that you're experiencing some of this. So first, just acknowledge you're gonna have negative emotions, you're human, and you can't just shove or ignore those feelings altogether. So you get to decide how you wanna respond to this situation. Getting upset and angry at yourself for being upset and angry is this vicious cycle. It's that extra layer of suffering that does no good. Could you think something like, just because she wasn't good to me growing up, that doesn't mean I can't be a great caregiver? Do you think that even though you didn't have the best mother-daughter relationship that you wish you would have had, that you're going to do whatever you can try to do the best job caring for her? I don't know why you've moved back into with your mom. Maybe it's purely out of the goodness of your heart because she is no longer safe to live at home alone. But because you did move in with her, it's very important that you find a way to think about why you're doing it. You're clearly not caring for your mom because she was a great mom to you. We know that, right? But there's some reason why you're caring for your mom, and you need to remember that and hang on to that. Now, your mind is going to go to the past. It's going to happen. When your mom does something, you find yourself really frustrated, your mind's going to go to the past, and it's going to be really difficult. What I want you to do is catch yourself when you do it and bring yourself back to the present. Say, right now, this is what I'm working with. Right now, I've made the decision to be a Careblazer, and I know that decision comes with challenges. And everything I'm doing right now to be a caregiver doesn't have much to do with my mom at all. It has nothing to do with the type of mom she was when I was growing up. It has everything to do with what I feel about me, what's important to me, and the kind of person I am. You might just need to shift some of your thoughts there. Make sure that you are reaching out to friends, that you're getting breaks for yourself, that you're doing things that you enjoy. This type of caregiving situation is not easy, even if you had the best mother-daughter relationship growing up. So the fact that you did not have that makes it this much more difficult, and all the more important that you're doing things to really care for yourself. In response to my video on the 3 things to never do with somebody who has dementia, I talk about the importance of resisting correcting somebody with dementia. I talk about kind of going along with what they're saying and trying to redirect them, not really challenging them or reasoning with them. And I got a comment that said, so agree with everything that they say, redirect and act like a potted plant in their world. Try this with an abusive parent who still has these personality traits as well as dementia. Here's my response to that. Your safety and your loved one's safety is a top priority. So if your safety's at risk, that's top priority. Do whatever you need to do to keep yourself safe. Remove yourself from the situation, call in authorities, whatever needs to happen. The same with your loved one with dementia. If their safety is at risk and they're about to do something really harmful to themselves, intervene, make sure that doesn't happen. However, this idea that you shouldn't just go along with everything your loved one says and that you should correct them and try to reason with them, that in the end is just making your situation worse, right? So the comment is coming from a place of, I can't believe I'm just supposed to agree with everything my loved one says. I can't let them get away with that. Well, have you ever tried to correct somebody with dementia or reason with them or tell them that they're wrong when they truly believed something that was not true? Right? Good luck with that. You're not going to get anywhere with that. So the point in not correcting, not reasoning, not trying to rationalize is not to just let them get away with everything and to say that they're right. It's about choosing your battles, choosing it wisely, and not making your situation any worse or any more difficult, right? When you try to argue or correct or reason or rationalize with your loved one who has dementia, in the end, you lose. Right? Even if you were right, you're wrong, because it makes life so much more difficult for you. You are not talking and communicating and interacting with somebody who has all the abilities to understand what's going on in reality. So you are welcome to go on and continue to correct and continue to reason. You can absolutely, that is your right to go along and do all of those things. However, most Careblazers tell me that is just a vicious cycle. It's tiring, it's stressful, it leads to more arguments, it makes the relationship between you and your loved one with dementia that much worse. It's much easier to let many of the things go so long as safety is not at risk. You get to decide where you want to put your attention and energy when you care for your loved one with dementia. You can take on this battle as many times as you want, or you can let some of their statements and comments that are untrue or incorrect and let it go in one ear and out the other. Save your energy for more worthwhile battles. Okay? Careblazers, I hope that this video was helpful for you. Leave any other questions you have below. I'll be back next week with another video. Until then, bye.